Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth episode of VMware Runs on VMware podcast series about digital transformation, where we speak with VMware IT and get insights on how we achieve digital transformation at VMware. I'm Sarita Kar, Senior Manager at VMware IT, and your host for this series. In the first two episodes, you heard our CIO Jason Conrad, our IT CTO Jerry Abraham, and Head of Engineering and Architecture Rupa Raj talk about the organizational impact, the foundational decisions, and the SaaS mindset that is so essential for digital transformation. In the last episode, we got into the details of how we achieved digital transformation with VMware IT leadership. To hear these earlier podcasts, check the links provided below. Today, we will delve further into our multi-cloud journey. I am delighted to have with me Swapnil Hendre, Director, IT Solutions Engineering and Design, and Venkat Subbarao, Technical Architect from Business IT. Welcome to the podcast, Swapnil and Venkat.
Thank you, Sarita. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Sarita. I'm excited.
Thanks, Venkat, and thank you, Swapnil. So, building more on the multi-cloud topic that we merely touched upon in our last episode, we would like to ask you, Swapnil, what were the chief reasons why VMware IT opted for VMware Cloud on AWS?
Absolutely. So VMware IT was tasked with migrating mission-critical workloads to VMware Cloud on AWS. We had several objectives. These objectives included extending our on-premises data center to public cloud, achieving the bidirectional workload portability, providing elasticity to scale up and scale down compute resources on the fly for seasonal workload, and last but not the least, improving the workload resiliency availability through the consistent operational model.
Absolutely. Improving workload resiliency and availability have been the key metrics for all of us for quite some time. But I'd like to ask you, Venkat, what are the business reasons for moving to multi-cloud?
Yep, we embarked the multi-cloud journey for two main reasons. One is high availability, and the other one is the scalability. On availability front, we want our services are highly available, so that means they should meet 4 nines availability requirements. So 4 nines is 99.99% uptime, which turns out to be maximum 4 minutes acceptable downtime per month. To meet such uptime requirements, we expanded application footprint to public cloud in addition to existing on-premises data centers, primarily for redundancy reasons. It's kind of a hybrid cloud journey. Start with hybrid cloud and then expanding to multi-clouds on need basis. Okay, and hosting services across on-premises and public cloud environments has its own challenges. You all know that. Okay, one of those things is portability. Portability here refers to when you are deploying applications to on-prem data centers and public cloud hyperscalers, your application should be portable across the clouds. So, and should be a consistent. For consistency reasons, we adopted a cloud agnostic toolset, and we hosted our applications onto VMware Tanzu Kubernetes grid, and used a Wavefront for observability. And we use other tool sets such as the VMware NSX advanced load balances and other things, so that we have a parity of infrastructure on-premise and public cloud. That's how we achieve portability. And secondly, a second important thing is having a streamlined DevOps process. That we achieved through unified toolset across cloud and on-premises. And the third most important aspect is data consistency between on-prem, cloud, and multiple cloud scenarios. Okay. And for that, we employed different techniques. One of them is pinning customers to a particular region, and also we adopted in few cases eventual consistency patterns. Okay, that's on availability. If we look at the scalability, consider, we have a VMworld application, which will have a high traffic during a 3-day annual event for customers, partners, and developer community, and which needs to scale for a certain period of time quickly. So to scale this application, we hosted this application on VMware Cloud on AWS, and which provides a consistent environment similar to on-premise data center, and without no refactoring application, we achieved this. It provides a good portability and unified toolset by adopting VMware Cloud on AWS. So that's how we scale the application during the peak workloads. Okay, that's how it benefits.
That was well explained, Venkat. We all understand the importance of data consistency and streamlining the DevOps processes through a unified toolset. And it's also truly noteworthy that we are hosting our applications on VMware Tanzu Kubernetes Grid and load balancing it through AVI networks. For our listeners, if you wish to know more about how we can use these products, do check out the blogs listed on our VMware on VMware website. So, Swapnil, I know all this sounds great in theory, but when you actually moved the mission critical services to VMware Cloud on AWS, what were the chief challenges you faced?
Sure, Sarita. So anytime you start any new solution, you are going to face challenges. So, and this was no exception. When we decided to migrate our workloads to public cloud, we came across several challenges, like such as how do we establish the hybrid connectivity? How to provide the access to core services such as NTP, DNS, load balancers? How to secure our workload deployed in public cloud? How to perform data replication? And finally, how to automate the entire failover and failback of traffic within the matter of minutes to make sure we stay with the SLAs we have agreed upon. We address these challenges by establishing the hybrid cloud connectivity. Initially, we used site-to-site VPN because this was very quick to establish the connectivity. Later, we end up replacing using Direct Connect. We deployed core services locally in the public cloud to provide low latency connectivity to mission critical applications, eliminate the dependency on on-premises, and eliminate the egress costs. The data replication was performed by using VMware Disaster Recovery as a service, and we implemented a zero trust by using NSX microsegmentation, which allowed us to enable the traffic which is absolutely required and block everything else. And finally, we automated the entire failover and failback using homegrown automation.
And speaking of NSX microsegmentation, I remember the time when Swapnil first implemented the rules in the non-prod environment and the entire development came to a standstill because none of the teams could even connect to the systems. We were frantically trying to figure out what went wrong, and I remember calling you, Swapnil, in your early morning that time, and that was when you figured out that one critical port should have been allow instead of deny.
Absolutely, and that's how I met Sarita, by the way, for the first time. And the moral of the story here is that we had to ensure the traffic which needs to be enabled using the application discovery. So that was definitely a lesson learned for us.
Absolutely, indeed, that is correct. And I remember you were so cool, and you immediately caught the error. It was like Mr. Fix-It Swapnil comes in and saves the day.
Actually,
So
Viharana deserves the credit here because Viharana identified that very quickly. Sorry, Sarita. Please go ahead.
yeah, no, absolutely. So we learned it the hard way, and the good thing was we found out in non-prod. So let it be a lesson to anyone who wishes to implement NSX microsegmentation. Make sure you spend your time in discovery and review the rules before applying. So that's the implementation part. And as an operations person, I can vouch for the fact that day two operations is equally important. So, Swapnil, how did we handle day two operations?
Absolutely. When we launched our the service, so VMware IT launched several day two operations initiatives to ensure the ecosystem's ongoing viability. VMware Cloud is a managed service enabled cloud administrators to focus on the workload and application creation rather than the infrastructure maintenance, which significantly minimize the errors and reduce the complexity. VMware vRealize Network Insight Monitoring was employed to deliver analytics capabilities for software-defined networking and security. This helped in optimizing network performance and availability with converged visibility across virtual and physical networks, along with the public and private clouds. We also use vRealize Network Insight for migration planning to VMware Cloud on AWS.
And that is also in keeping with the SaaS mindset. We can focus more on application creation when the regular infrastructure maintenance is taken care of. And every time we talk about a new implementation and its maintenance and support, the first questions that crop up are on network and bandwidth. So, Swapnil, what were the issues in network bandwidth when moving to VMware Cloud on AWS?
Definitely. So before committing to full-scale migration, IT had to make sure all the basics were in place. So initially, we used site-to-site VPN tunnel to establish connectivity from on-premises to VMware Cloud and AWS, and that was established literally within an hour. While it helped initially, very quickly we realized that site-to-site VPN didn't really meet our business requirements for providing dedicated, low latency, cost effective, and secure connectivity. We addressed this challenge by employing AWS Direct Connect.
And that is what I like about our implementations. We may not do everything right the first time, but we recover quickly. And I think it's important to understand that in any implementation, you may not get it right the first time, but it is through iterations and applying different solutions that you can figure out what works best for your specific needs. So, now that we know about the implementation challenges and day two operations of moving our critical applications on VMware Cloud on AWS, there is one pertinent question. So, Swapnil, if we want to go multi cloud next, how easy or difficult is it to do so? Like, how much time will it take and what shall we gain?
Yeah, definitely. Like having the mission critical applications already running on VMware Cloud on AWS, which is public cloud, provides us a foundation for our next goal, which is building a cloud agnostic solution which will provide us the ability to extend our applications in multi-cloud environment. We are planning to deploy this platform, which will be built upon DevSecOps principles to scale and contract the workload on demand in multi-cloud using various VMware products such as Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, AVI, VMware SD-WAN, VMware vRealize Network Insight, vRealize Log Insight, and vRealize Automation.
Wow, that's a whole suite of products. And I know that we will do justice to every one of them. So, one thing I do wish to add here is that we use VMware products not just for the sake of using them because we are VMware, but we use them because they work and are pertinent to our business needs. So, coming back to business, Venkat, what would we gain in terms of business mileage by moving to multi cloud?
Yeah, good question. Okay. One thing is we have a Uber goal to provide a customers unhampered and consistent services, which means no downtime to our service. Any downtime to our service will impact our customers' business SLAs. Okay. So the multi-cloud journey helped our systems to react quickly to customer usage patterns, okay, and enable systems auto scale without pre-planning. Another benefit which we got is fulfilling regulatory needs and risk aversion by having a disaster recovery environment in cloud, which is different from our data centers and in different regions and different countries. And one more benefit what business gets is they serve content from locations near to the customer geographic location where they are, and which helps to reduce latency, improve customer experience, and fulfilling data localization needs in future. So these are the things which gives a business advantage or business benefits. Okay.
That is so true, Venkat. In a world where pre planning gets more and more challenging, it is comforting to know that I can auto scale on a need basis. And we do understand the importance of complying to regulatory needs. So, Venkat, if I were to do a cost benefit analysis from the business perspective, is it worth my while?
Yeah, it makes sense. Hyperscalers like cloud public clouds provide a auto scalability on demand basis, and our services has a sudden spikes of your usages during campaigns and events. That means we have a peak traffic for some stipulated time and then it becomes flat. Cloud provides elasticity. We can use that elasticity to ramp up resources on demand basis and then ramp down when we don't need. That's how you can save costs. Also, we by design we follow cloud agnostic and we use cloud agnostic tool set in our environment, which makes us not stick to one cloud provider, and we can switch across different clouds. So that's where cost effectiveness comes into picture.
Absolutely. It is certainly the best case scenario, to not be dependent on one cloud provider. I mean, I have three different networks at home to ensure uninterrupted video streaming of movies. So why should I be looking at only one cloud for my production systems? So thank you, Swapnil and Venkat, for sharing your implementation story.
Thank you, Sarita. I hope this was useful for our customers.
Yeah, thank you, Sarita, and yeah, very excited to showcase our journey to the customers.
Absolutely, and thank you, both of you. I'm sure our listeners have benefited from all that practical know how, the do's and don'ts, and are feeling more confident now on embarking on the multi cloud journey. And that brings us to the end of this episode. We hope you liked it, and if you did, please drop a comment below and check out the VMware Runs on VMware website for more interesting IT stories. We'll be discussing another IT digital transformation story in the next episode of this series. Stay tuned.